Hello, everyone, and good morning. Thank you for joining us for our virtual open enrollment seminar. At this time, we will go over Vision Service Plan benefits for plan year 2026. Before we get started, I would like to brief everyone on a couple of housekeeping items and just to remind you of these housekeeping issues. All attendees are muted and will remain muted throughout the presentation. Should you have a question, please type it in the chat box located on the right-hand side of the presentation screen. Kindly be informed that if you type a question in that chat box, everyone attending this session will see your question along with your name. So if you have a question that is sensitive or confidential in nature, we recommend that you reach out to the County Benefits Division or your department's benefits ambassador. Lastly, today's seminar is being recorded. A copy of the recording, along with the slide deck, will be posted on the Benefits Open Enrollment website. At this time, I will turn it over to our presenter, Carla Hanel.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me, and I will go over your 2026 benefits. So first on the agenda is why vision care is essential. So I'll talk about why getting an annual eye exam is so important. And then I will go over your VSP benefits, which are very rich, and I think you're going to be very happy with them. And then discuss VSP member extras. So all the value adds and discounts that you have access to on top of your VSP benefits. And then I'll move into out-of-network services. So, it's great to stay in network, but you do have to have out-of-network allowances as well. And then how to find a VSP provider. So I'll talk a little bit about our network and then how to use VSP as it's super easy. And then some resources that you have access to. But feel free to ask questions. I'll pause after each section and see if there's any questions. So feel free to put them in the chat. So vision care is essential. We look at an annual eye exam, should be on our list, just like your preventive care appointments, just, like you're going to a dentist every year for a checkup and cleaning or getting your annual wellness visit with your family doctor. And why is that? Because during an eye exam, your eye doctor not only looks at your vision, but also at your overall health. Your eyes are the only place on your body where you have unobstructed views of your blood vessels. So it does tell so much about your overall health. In fact, doctors can detect over 270 signs of health conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, autoimmune diseases, and even some cancers. So it's really so important to go in that for that annual eye exam, even if you have 20/20 vision. Just a quick story, a VSP member actually recently shared the story with me that she went to her eye doctor appointment and her doctor found like a kind of a gray ring around her cornea, which is kind of a sign of high cholesterol. So her doctor encouraged her to go see her primary care physician who confirmed the diagnosis and provided treatment. So again, you can tell so much about your overall health. So quickly moving into your benefits, you have very, very rich benefits. You get an eye exam every calendar year, so it resets every January, so you have the whole entire year to use your benefits. Your lenses are every calendar year, and then your frame is every calendar year, so or contact lenses every calendar year. You have a $15 total co-payment, so you only pay that $15 one time. And then you have that $150 frame allowance or $170 for featured frame brand. So I'll talk a little bit more about what a featured frame brand is. If you do go to Costco or Walmart, you have an $80 frame allowance, and that's really the equivalent of the $150 everywhere else. Talk a little bit more about light care. That was just recently added for 2025. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But then contact lenses are in lieu of glasses, and you have that $150 allowance for contact lenses. There is a not to exceed $60 copay for the contact lens exam. So you will pay no more than $60. What the doctors will do is they'll take 15% off the actual exam cost. So if it's more than 60, members would only pay 60. If it's less than 60, you would pay the lesser amount. Your current covered lens enhancements are standard progressives, polycarbonate lenses, which is that shatterproof lens, and then scratch coating. Now, one thing great about your benefits is that you have easy options. And what this is, it allows you and each family member that is on your plan to choose an upgrade at the time of services. So you can choose a higher frame allowance at $250 allowance, or a $200 allowance for contact lenses, or anti-reflective coating covered in full. Photochromic lenses where it goes dark outside, light inside, could be covered in full as one of the upgrades. And custom and premium progressives, because standard's already covered, but you can choose to upgrade to that custom and premium. Now, light care is a fairly new benefit in 2025. This allows members to use their frame allowance for non-prescription sunglasses or non-prescription blue light filtering glasses. So I'll get into that a little bit more in an upcoming slide. Additional features for your plan is that you have laser vision correction. So you get $500 off per eye for laser surgery. Essential medical eye care you have embedded in this plan. I'll talk about that in an upcoming slide. Additional pairs of glasses the same day as your exam, you get a 30% discount. 20% discount on any overages on your frame allowance. So you're saving money there as well. And then any lens enhancement that's not currently covered in full, if you stay in network, it's on average a 45% savings. So such as high index lenses, anti-reflective coating if that's not one of your upgrades. That's discounted on average at 45%. And then you have not to exceed a $39 copay for retinal screening. So retinal imaging screening is where they take a picture of your eye, and that's really great to monitor ongoing eye conditions from year to year. So you would pay no more than $39 on that. So this is just, again, a look at how your easy options works. You go to a VSP provider, you choose what you want on your lenses, or maybe you want to choose that designer frame that's super expensive. You can upgrade to that higher frame allowance. Or you can, again, upgrade to that contact lens allowance. So, each member can choose the same upgrade of the family, or you can choose whatever makes the most sense for you at that particular moment. Say you want to try photochromic lenses covered in full, you can choose that upgrade. The doctor will help you decide which will have the lowest out-of-pocket costs for you. I do want to mention that Easy Options is not available at Costco and Walmart. So just your base portion would be available at Costco and Walmart. So that $150 frame allowance and that $150 elective contact lens allowance would be available. Sorry, $80 would be available at Costco and Walmart. So a little bit more about light care. As I mentioned, you can use that frame allowance for non-prescription sunglasses or non-prescription blue light filtering glasses. And this is instead of getting prescription glasses or contact lenses. So you can get one or the other. Really great for those members that might be part of your plan that just don't need a prescription. It helps get them in for an eye exam, which again is so important to go in for an annual eye exam. And then you get a little bit of a benefit once you're there. So, so get that frame allowance, and it's for ready-made sunglasses or ready-made blue light filtering glasses. Now, light care is available at Costco, but it is not at Walmart. I would just recommend going to a VSP, an independent provider. And then also part of your plan is embedded is essential medical eye care. And really what this is that you can go to a VSP provider for a $20 copay and access additional care. So additional care could look like maybe treatment for a pink eye. Maybe you don't want to go to that urgent care or emergency room, but you can go to that VSP provider and get treatment for that for a $20 copay. If you have ongoing eye conditions such as macular degeneration or glaucoma or diabetic eye disease, you can receive additional exams through this essential medical eye care. One thing I do want to mention, though, that if your provider takes your medical plan, they will bill medical primary and the VSP secondary. But if they don't, of course, it would just be a $20 copay. I'm going to just pause right now to see if there is any questions that you might have regarding your VSP benefits.
Yes, Carla, we do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
One is the frame allowance just once per year?
That is correct, just once a year.
Okay. And I'm just going to add on top of that question for me personally. Let's say if I get an eye exam in November this year, does my allowance push to November of next year, or does it reset at the beginning of the calendar year?
It resets at the beginning of the calendar year. So everything will
Okay.
reset for your exam, lenses, and frames every January. So you have the whole entire year to use your benefits.
Excellent. All righty. Another question. Is VSP a standalone, for example, outside of Kaiser? And just to clarify more, our Kaiser insurance, they perform a general exam in the offices, but VSP is a standalone, correct?
That is correct. And if you do want to go to your Kaiser doctor or your optometrist at Kaiser, you can take your prescription and go to a VSP provider and have it, get your glasses or contact lenses.
Excellent. Going back to the cost for the frames, what are the I'm assuming this is out-of-pocket costs for a second frame with VSP?
If you wanted to get additional pairs of glasses, it would be 30% discount on the same day as your exam, or 20% discount within 12 months from the last time you got an exam.
Oh, excellent. Now the questions are rolling in. How about from choosing an upgrade, can they only select one option?
They can only select one option of that. So the higher frame allowance or the higher contact lens allowance or anti-reflective coating covered in full, or premium and custom progressives covered in full, or photochromic lenses covered in full. So one option every year.
Okay. And I'm assuming that is per family member, each member covered under the plan?
Each family member covered under the plan. Each family member can choose a different option, whatever makes sense for them. So for example, if mom found a pair of designer frames, they can choose that higher frame allowance, or maybe dad wanted to try progressive lenses, can choose that progressive lens allowance covered in full, or maybe kids, they play sports, they want that photochromic where it turns to sunglasses going outside, they can choose that
Excellent.
upgrade.
Okay. And are the photochromic and progressive lenses automatically applied? How does that work?
If you choose that upgrade, it's automatically applied. Yes. So, but the doctor will help you determine, so say you want to get these you found your frames and maybe you wanted to try anti-reflective and progressives. The doctor will help determine what upgrade has the lowest out-of-pocket cost for you.
Excellent. Can you go over more in detail about the differences between the VSP and Costco differences? Something along the lines of the $80 allowance versus the $150 allowance?
Yes. So when you go to Costco and Walmart, it's a lower frame allowance because that's the equivalent to the 150 everywhere else. And the reason for that is because on average, the average frame cost at Costco is $68. So $180 goes a long ways there.
Excellent. Are there any benefits for out-of-network, such as Zenni, Zelo, and online glasses providers?
There are out-of-network benefits, and I actually have a slide with the out-of-network allowances and how to go about submitting an out-of-network claim in an upcoming slide.
Excellent. Uh, Great questions, everyone. Thank you, Carla. We have a couple more.
Okay.
Can we still use the frame allowance also if we are getting contacts that same year?
No. So you can either glasses or contact lenses, one or the other.
Ah,
And you know what I recommend too? Because your benefits are so rich for glasses with all the lens enhancements covered and all that, I would recommend if you wear both, use your benefit for glasses and then take your prescription and either, and I'll talk a little bit more about our online retail store where you can get discounts on contact lenses or take it to Costco. That's what my husband does because Costco's so inexpensive with, or I should say less expensive for contact lenses. But I do recommend if you wear both, just use your benefits for glasses. It'll save you a lot less out of pocket.
thank you for that breadcrumb of information because I do the exact same thing that you just outlined. And it works very
It
well.
works. Yes.
Oh, okay. One more question. To get a pair of non-prescription sunglasses or blue light glasses, do I need to get an eye exam at the same time?
You don't have to, but I recommend getting that eye exam. So you don't. You can go to a VSP provider and access that light care benefit without getting an eye exam. But I highly recommend getting one.
Excellent. Okay, that about wraps up our questions for now.
So I'm going to move into VSP member extras. So as you see, you have the most amazing benefits, but you also have a lot of value add discounts on top of those benefits to help even save further on your out-of-pocket costs. So I mentioned that you have extra $20 for featured frame brands. There's over 30 different brands that qualify for that additional $20, and you can find all the different brands on VSP.com under offers. But this is just kind of a snapshot on a few. So if you choose Nike or Ferragamo or Victoria Beckham or, Dragons, you get that additional $20. If you choose that upgrade on that easy options plan, you would get even extra $20 on that $250 allowance as well. And then on top of that extra 20, there are so many other extra, discounts and exclusive special offers that are total more than 3,000 in savings. And again, under VSB.com, under offers, it shows all the different offers. So you can, receive up to $1,200 off your LASIK procedure. So you can get a discount on LASIK and then your $500 per eye would apply. There's rebates on contact lenses. So Bausch and Lomb has up to a $300 rebate that you can download the rebate form. There is discounts on hearing aids that I'll talk a little bit more about on the next slide. There's even like Maui Gym discounts, extra, get up to $50 off on the next pair of Maui Gym sunglasses. There's, travel and entertainment discounts and so much more. So again, vsp.com/offers. And then a little bit more about our True Hearing partnership. So this allows members to get up to a 60% discount on hearing aids. One thing I do want to mention, even if you don't need a hearing aid, but maybe an extended family member, maybe a grandparent, or maybe an aunt, uncle, sibling, anyone that's part of the family that's extended can have up to that 60% discount as well. So that's a huge perk under this partnership with True Hearing. There is a nationwide network of more, really close to 9,000 licensed hearing aid professionals throughout the US. It's straightforward, nationally fixed pricing on a wide selection of hearing aids. So they've got the latest technology versus even some of the older technology and all different price ranges. You do get 1 year of free visits for the fitting and adjustment and cleaning, and then there's 80 free batteries per hearing aid. This more details can be found again on vsp.com under offers. And there is an 800 number that you can call just True Hearing and say that you want to add your extended family member. And then on top of that, we have what we call simple values. And this can be found in the same spot. There's, as I mentioned, discounts on entertainment, movie tickets, travel, lodging, diabetes supplies, all that can be found under the simple values. Any questions on the value adds?
Looks like we're good on questions, but I do want to
Okay.
share with the audience that I did put a couple of links in the chat. One is to the exclusive member extras, and the other link is to the general website for VSP. And I take that back. We do have a question, Carla. What is the difference between an eye exam with an optometrist versus an ophthalmologist?
The ophthalmologist, if you have something going on, maybe you have like glaucoma or macular degeneration and you want to monitor that, you might want to go to an ophthalmologist, but there really is no difference in your benefits. So you can go to optometrist, ophthalmologist, which would have an MD behind their name, and you would get the same benefits. Same exam, I should say.
Excellent. Okay, we're good on questions.
So moving on out of network benefits. So, as I mentioned, you have really rich in network benefits, but you do have an out of network allowance. I highly recommend staying in network because you, again, have such rich benefits staying in network. But this is a list of allowances, your out of network allowances. So you would get up to a 40% reimbursement for exam, and depending on if you're single visioned, bifocal, trifocal, or progressive lenses, it determines what your allowance is for that. And then $45 allowance for frame, and then 105 for contact lenses. You have 12 months to submit an out of network claim form. So you can do that by going on VSP.com. So you can log in and create an account, and you can create that account by just providing your last 4 digits of your social and your date of birth. And then once you create an account, you can click on view my benefits, and then once you click on that, you'll see, oops, I went out of network. So you can click on that, you can upload a picture of your receipt, you'll get reimbursed those allowances within 7 to 10 business days. And the allowances that I spoke about. And again, you have 12 months from the date of service to file that claim. So it's very easy to upload that receipt and then click and fill out that form and then just hit submit. Any questions about out of network? I know that there was a question earlier. I just want to make sure I answered your question.
Well, not a question on out of network, but a follow-up question to the ophthalmologist. Are they considered a specialist eye doctor?
Um, a specialist. I mean, they are specialists because they do specialize in eye diseases. But as far as VSP goes, we don't break it down that way. We just you could search by a doctor, by MD or optometrist, and again, they give you this same exam. Hope I answered your
Carla,
question on that. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, Carla,
Okay.
this same individual has indicated they've been paying $40 copay when they see an ophthalmologist. Is it a safe assumption that the ophthalmologist is out of network, since that dollar amount is the same for out of network?
It could be, but what I would do is if you can call our customer service and have them pull up the claim. It could be maybe they charged you for retinal screening where it took a picture of your eye and that was not to exceed a $39 copay, and maybe it was less and then you had to pay your copay amount. So I would recommend calling customer service and having them pull up your claim. And if for whatever reason you were charged wrong, they would work back with your doctor.
Excellent. I believe this employee is okay with that information.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Carla. And we do have another question that's come through. For out of network, is the member only allowed one frame per year as well?
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Okay.
also out of network, you wouldn't get any of the discounts either. So not the discounts on lens enhancements or any of that. You would just get reimbursed the out-of-network allowances.
Mm. And we have another employee who's sharing an experience with Acuity Eye Group for the past 5 years. They received horrible service. Um, do not want to go to them again. Where can I go now?
So our next section is how to find a VSP network doctor. And I'll go
Perfect
ahead and
timing.
perfect timing. Thank you. Any other questions before I click to the next slide?
Looks like we're good for now, Carla.
Okay. So here is kind of the overview of our network. So we have like the largest independent provider network, which we're calling private practice locations. And then within that, we have retail locations. So retail locations such as VisionWorks, VSP owns VisionWorks. So if you're outside of, San Diego, there's VisionWorks up and down California. And we have Costco and Walmart's in our network, and then a lot of other regional retail locations. And then we have our online at Iconic. So Iconic is an in-network extension of our in-network provider network. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. Within private practice locations and even VisionWorks, we have what we call Premier Edge locations. So when you do search for a provider, which I'll get into, you might see an orange banner. That is a Premier Edge location, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as well. So Premier Edge locations are really a subset of our independent provider network. And really what that just means is that they have the latest and greatest equipment. They have a lot of the exclusive member extras that other providers don't have. They have a huge selection of our featured frame brands that qualify for that additional $20. They have a stress-free eyewear shopping experience and then flexible appointment hours. So they have evening and weekends and so forth. And they're all backed by a Premier Edge promise. So that Premier Edge promise is that if you go to a Premier Edge location with that orange banner and you purchase one of those featured frame brands, then if for whatever reason that frame breaks within 12 months, they will replace those frames at no cost other than a $40 processing fee. If you chose a featured frame brand and for whatever reason your prescription changes, you would be able to get a new exam and new lenses put into those glasses at no charge other than that $40 processing fee. And then also, if you just get home, you choose one of those featured frame brands, you get home and you're like, what in the world was I thinking? I hate these. You have 100 days to tell that Premier Edge location that you don't like them, and then they'll replace them. So a little bit more about our online retail store. Again, in-network option for those people that love to shop online. It's very easy to use. You just upload your prescription. There's virtual try-on. And I always like to go on virtual try-on, even if I'm not purchasing glasses on Iconic, just to see how I look in different styles. So it's a really real-time virtual try-on. And then once you find your frame, then you click on your transparent lens packaging. So if you want, to try those progressive lenses or anti-reflective coatings, you can choose that in Iconic. And then it'll give you your out-of-pocket cost, and you just be responsible for anything over that you would normally be responsible for at any other in-network provider. If you get your glasses on Iconic and you get them and they need to be fitted or adjusted, you can go to a VSP provider for a free frame adjustment and contact lens consultation. So you can also get contact lenses. And each prescription is validated with accuracy, and there is a 6-month prescription guarantee on Iconic. So great in-network option for those people that love to shop online. And I do want to mention that your easy options plan is available on Iconic. So very easy to find that VSP provider. Go to VSP.com. Again, highly recommend creating an account on VSP.com and then click on find a provider. And you can, search in so many different ways. So you can enter your preferences that are really meaningful to you, such as, you know, gender, language spoken, specialty, frame brands. So if you want to choose a doctor that has some of those frame brands that qualify for that additional $20, you can search that way. You can search by hours and scheduling. So just a lot of ways to search for a VSP provider. And then again, as I mentioned, when you pull up the list, I guess the easiest way is, just plug in your zip code and you can select that way and have all the doctors, pulled up around where you live. But if you select that advanced search, you can map the distance to the doctor of your choice. Any questions about the provider network?
Carla, we do have a couple of questions. Going back to claims, can individual submit a claim for frame and contact lenses in the same year?
Nope, one or the other. So you can either get glasses or contact lenses, even out of network.
Excellent. Another clarification question. Am I understanding this correctly? To get the best discount, I need to buy the frames the same day as the exam, and in-network offers the best discount?
You can buy, so no, so your benefits, you have the whole entire year to use your benefits. But if you want additional pair of glasses that are not covered, so only one pair is covered, then if you buy that second pair of glasses, you get a 30% discount on that second pair of glasses the same day as your exam. Otherwise, you can get 20% discount on additional pairs of glasses within a 12-month period from the last time you got an exam. So your benefits, you'll get the same benefits no matter when you go. If you haven't exhausted your benefits, you still get that exam, your lenses, your frame allowance, or contact lens allowance. I hope I answered your question. Hope I understood your question.
So far, we're good.
So VSP is very easy to use. Sometimes people think it's a little bit too easy. Excuse me. Again, create that account on VSP.com. Confirm your doctor is with VSP or search for a VSP provider. Once you've found that doctor, when you make an appointment, make sure you tell the doctor's office that you have VSP. So it's like I mentioned earlier, it's a standalone business, standalone benefit. So tell your doctor that you have VSP, and then your doctor will handle the rest. So they'll be able to pull up your information in their system. There are no ID cards necessary. So our doctors don't even ask for an ID card. I will say though that once you create an account, you can print an ID card if you are the person that loves to keep something in your wallet as a reminder. We do have apps, a VSP app on, Google App Store and then the Google Play Store. So you can download that as well. And then you can click on member ID card if you want to show your member ID card. But again, our doctors will never ask for it. And then once you enroll and create that account on VSP.com, you're able to see your benefit information. So you will be able to pull up your information, see when you last used it, when you're next eligible, and then you can also pull up after you use a plan, you can pull up a wealth savings statement. So it will show you what you purchased, what it would have been without VSP, and what your out-of-pocket was with VSP. So I highly recommend looking at that. And then again, when you create an account, it's just going to ask you for your last 4 digits of your ID number, so social security number. And then you'll have a My Dashboard employees home page, and it'll show you all the dependents that are under your plan. It'll show their benefit information, when they last used it, when they're next eligible, and so forth. But it should be pretty easy because everything refreshes every calendar year for you all. So you just use it within that year anytime. And then again, you can call or email our customer experience center. There is one thing I do want to mention. You can sign up for emails too on VSP.com, and these emails will get sent to your inbox. And what's great about that is it'll tell you what the newest promotions are that will help save on some out-of-pocket costs. It'll give you information about eye health and maybe even just like a style, new styles for frames and so forth. And then, you always can call our customer service. They're there to help. If you catch customer service after hours, we do have a 24-hour, 7 days a week interactive voice response. So it'll be, you'll be able to determine if you're eligible for benefits. It'll even help you find a VSP provider. We have over 500 US-based customer service representatives, and they're there to help you. Dedicated Spanish support plus 170 different language lines. There's member support, hearing support as well. And then this is the customer service 800 number. And then wanted to mention too that we do have a member promise program. So for the employee that asked the question, they were unhappy with a provider that they went to. We want to make sure everyone is 100% satisfied. So we do have a member promise program. And really what that means is that if you are not happy with the provider or you're not happy with your materials, please call our customer service department. They're there to help you. So they'll either work back with the doctor to make it right for you, or possibly even waive past services so that you can go to another provider and get new materials. So for the one that asked the question, if it's been within this year, I would definitely call customer service. Any questions at all on?
Carla, we had one question. Um, is there any changes from this year into 2026 for the VSP plan? I'd be happy to answer that and say we have no changes. The only great change is that the premiums went down. So you'll see less coming out of your paycheck, or your flex credits will be paying for those if you don't have a lot of other benefits impacted by your flex credits. But the premium did go down, but everything about the plan stays the same.
That's nice. I don't hear that very often, so that's great. Okay, moving to just VSP resources. So, I started this presentation out why, getting an eye exam is so important because it can detect so many different medical maladies and tell so much about your overall health. We do have an eye wellness information section. So if you're interested in, you know, articles about how does diabetes affect, you know, uh, your eyesight, or information on glaucoma or macular degeneration, or when should your child go in for their first eye exam, or tips to reduce digital eye strain. All that information is on vsp.com eyewear/wellness. So highly recommend going there, kind of tooling around in that. And then the most frequently asked questions that I typically get is when members are, try to enroll. Employees need to use their last four digits of the social to seek services. Dependents also use the employee's information. Another question that I get a lot when I'm sitting out, answering questions at benefit fairs is about coordination of benefits. When members have two VSP plans, you can use each plan separately. So for example, you can use one plan for glasses, the second plan for contact lenses if you'd like, or you can have one plan cover some of the overages of the other plan. If you coordinate like that, you want to make sure you tell your provider that you want to coordinate both plans. So you would have to give your information, and then your spouse or whoever you're under their information and they can coordinate. I also highly recommend, if you do it, to call customer service to see what your out-of-pocket's going to be, because they will be able to pull both plans and tell you, give you an idea of what one plan, how one plan will cover some of the overages of the other plan. Most people use it as two separate plans, get two pairs of glasses, or as I mentioned, glasses or contact lenses, but you can coordinate if you would like. We are a nationwide doctor network, so we truly are a PPO, so you can go anywhere in the United States and access your benefits, and your benefit coverage is the exact same no matter where you go. So if you go to Hawaii and use your benefits versus Kansas, you will have the exact same benefits and out of pocket. And then for those that are, going outside or living outside of the US, you would use your out of network reimbursement for that. And then for those of you that might be leaving the county for whatever reason or losing coverage, maybe retiree or going part-time, we do have individual plans. So you can go on to VSP.com, you can click on individual plans if you want, and see the differences there. But there's more FAQs on VSP's website, VSP.com/FAQs. And hopefully we'll be able to answer any questions that you might have. And of course, if you have questions, you can always call our customer service. And that is the end of my presentation. Any questions? Final questions?
We do have one question, but I would like to share with the audience because we get a lot of emails or calls regarding cards, member cards for VSP. And VSP does not provide cards. They make it easy for you to just provide your social security number, the last four, for yourself and your covered dependents. So just want to let everyone know no cards are needed. And now I can get back to the chat. We do have a question. For my dependent to access VSP benefits, does she need to be enrolled on my medical plan with the county, or is there anything I need to do? And I can answer that. Your dependent, if they need the vision services, would only need to be covered under the VSP vision plan and not your medical. The medical is separate. So if you want them for medical services, they do need to be covered under your medical plan, but for just straight vision, only the VSP plan is needed. And what I would like to do right now, I'm going to place in the chat a link to the benefits ambassadors contact sheet, as well as the benefits division's email address. So we do understand after, meetings conclude, there may be some questions that you didn't think about asking. So we're happy to answer those even after the fact. So just now I put in the chat the benefits email address and the benefits ambassador list for open enrollment questions that are soon to come up. Okay. Question, Carla.
Okay.
Let's see. So let me try to break this down. So that this means when a person will retire, she or he can be on a VSP plan. Please confirm.
Yes, so we do have an individual plan that you can sign up for on VSP.com. And last time I was in there, there's a couple of plans. So there's a very rich plan like what you currently have, and then just more of a standard plan that you can sign up for. And it'll walk you through and tell you what the premiums are and so forth. And then you just pay up front, and then you have the whole year to use the plan.
All right. Looks like the chat box is quiet for now.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being so engaged and asking such great questions. This has been great. So thank you so much.
Let's see, another question. Every year I select Kaiser for my health and I also select VSP. However, I could waive VSP and just use Kaiser, correct? Any advantages to that?
I'm not sure what your Kaiser benefit is, if they have a vision benefit or not. So you might want to check that out. Typically, what I see with Kaiser is the exam covered, but I'm not sure what your plan is under Kaiser.
That is correct, Carla. Our Kaiser
Okay.
plan provides just a general exam, and that is it. It's just a very straightforward. We checked your eyes, but anything after the fact, if you need um, an ophthalmologist or a prescription for anything, Kaiser does not do that.
And then, if you wear glasses or contact lenses, you would probably want to sign up for the VSP plan.
Well, this individual saying that Kaiser does. Hmm. Okay. So additional information to piggyback on the question we just had. The same individual says that Kaiser does do the exam, but you can get a referral to an ophthalmologist if needed. Thank you, Mary, for sharing that information. I'm just curious to know, though, if the ophthalmologist's fees would be covered by Kaiser, if you get any special discounts. I'd definitely be interested in that conversation with you, Mary. I'm going to send you an email because I want to follow up with you on that to get an idea of what your experience is like too. Okay. Okay. Another question, Carla. Can you still get an eye exam with Kaiser if you don't have VSP? Yes, you can get an exam. Kaiser will definitely provide the exam. I understand that Kaiser cannot guarantee providing a prescription or getting you the extra services that you need for your eyes unless there's a circumstance with your health that affects your eyes. I believe that would be covered, but again, they cannot prescribe a prescription for you. Okay. Question, Carla. If we were to select contact allowance of $200 for upgrade and easy options, we can only use in-network or can we use it out of network?
Only in network. So easy options, that's a great question. Easy options is only in network.
Oh, wow. I'm getting a lot of chat on the Kaiser piece. This is interesting. Question, is VSP an option for the retired employees of San Diego? And would that be cheaper than going directly to VSP?
um, you mean like as a retiree under the county of San Diego?
Yes, and I can partially answer this, and if Carla, you can piggyback with me. For the retired employees with SD Sarah, I'm not sure what their rates or premiums are. They operate separately from active county benefits, and they may have a separate contract with VSP. So I'm not sure about those rates. And then Carla, can you address the latter question? Would it be cheaper than going directly to VSP?
And
As
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure about the retiree plan because I don't handle that group. So I don't really know what your contributions are, but it's pretty upfront when you go to VSB.com under the individual plan. So it's very, um, it'll tell you exactly what the monthly cost would be. So at least, you can kind of compare once you get the contributions under your the retiree plan that you're referencing.
Great question here. Is the online option to buy frames still available this coming year?
On Iconic, uh, yes, if you have not used your plan, you can certainly, use it on Iconic to get your glasses or contact lenses.
Now, the individual who's asking about the Kaiser, that they've gotten an exam and a prescription, they're asking if they should bring those prescription numbers to future VSP eye exam appointments.
Yeah, if you want materials, if you want to use, you want to use your VSP plan for glasses or contact lenses, take that prescription to that VSP provider. And then you can access your materials portion of your benefits.
Okay. Another great question, Carla. If an eye operation or surgery is needed, how much does VSP cover and how does this work?
We do not cover surgeries at all. That would be under your medical plan.
And I have an individual asking about the upgrades for the anti-reflective coating, photochromic lenses, and progressives. Can they get them all at the same time, or are they only able to choose one?
You can only choose one. So say for instance, you choose progressive lenses covered in full. Then your frame allowance would be 150, and your basic lenses would be covered, and then your lenses like your polycarbonate and scratch coating would be covered, and standard and scratch coating would be covered. And then you would have, your custom and premium progressives covered in full.
Okay. All righty. Going back to a LASIX question, does VSP cover LASIX?
You all have a great little allowance plan. So if you go to vsp.com, click on find a provider, you can actually search by laser centers, and we have discounts. So on average, a 15% discount. So the surgery center, if you tell them you have VSP, will apply that discount, and then you actually have a benefit of 500 per eye. So you have a total of $1,000 extra that you can use towards laser surgery. So like our discounts, there's certain surgery centers, there's like a $1,200 discount on one of the surgery centers, and then your $500 per eye, $1,000 would apply.
Perfect. Let's see, responding to a question, but we do have another one. I had two eye exams, one in Kaiser and one in VSP. The result was different, and I'm not sure what to do. Can you advise?
I am not sure on that. Is it for the same, like, is it for one for computer glasses versus one for single vision? Yeah, I would not know on that one. Sorry.
Okay. I'm curious to know if everyone who's acknowledging that Kaiser provides exams and prescriptions, if this is at a couple of their facilities where they do have a full vision center, if someone can confirm that, because I believe there is one here in Kearney Mesa somewhere at one of their Kaiser facilities. Ah, there's a full vision center at the La Mesa location for Kaiser. Okay. Okay.
And so does the Kaiser plan cover materials then? Or do they give you discounts? Okay.
Okay. It was just the exam.
Okay.
Just the exam everyone's confirming. Okay. Okay. Yeah, everyone, each person's just stating just the exam. On the positive, it's a great thing to have the VSP direct vision plan for the more specialized eyeglasses, your contact lenses. Like myself, I have a stigmatism in one of my eyes. So of course I have a specialized contact lens for that one eye. And thank goodness VSP covers it, up to the maximum. So I I would encourage anyone who has unique eye vision circumstances to definitely consider a vision plan that's separate from the medical plan. Oh, Carla, are you able to see the chat just yet?
Oh, here, why don't I stop? It's okay to stop sharing my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay,
It's a
let's
great
see.
conversation that we're having in here. I can honestly say I've learned a couple of things from the audience, so thank you very much for your transparency and being willing to share your experiences. Um, yeah.
So did we, oh, here we go, we answered those.
Yeah, just to bring you up to speed, Carla, a lot of
Oh,
the Kaiser facilities do provide the eye exams,
okay,
um, but apparently not covering for frames and lenses. One individual commented they were charged $400, and I can honestly say that would not be the case with this VSP plan.
no. Mhm. No, it's, yeah, you get a very, very rich benefit. There is one, if the provider bills us incorrectly, will the VSP identify that in the claim that they submit? If the provider billed you incorrectly, what I would recommend, if you feel like you were overcharged, I would recommend calling customer service, because what they would do is pull your exact claim and tell you exactly what you should have been charged based on what you purchased. And if for some reason you were charged wrong, they would work back with your provider and get that updated for you.
Yeah. I put the link? Things are moving so fast here. I can't remember if I put in the chat links to the benefits division's email and to benefits ambassadors. So if it's a little bit redundant, I apologize. Certainly want to keep you all well informed and know that you have access to information even after today's seminar. Well, Carla, with the chat box getting a little quiet, I want to take this time to thank you for making time to meet with us all today and providing such excellent information, very useful. I always learn more each year that we meet. So I want to
Thank you.
thank everyone else for attending as well. Carla, any closing remarks that you'd like to make before we conclude the seminar?
Just thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. Great attendance, and thank you so much for all the great questions. And I hope you have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. This does conclude the seminar.
Thank you.